Do you have a 1943 Lincoln Cent worth a couple grand? Do you even know what they're worth? Well, I'm going to show you some values, and I'm going to show you a coin that was discovered recently and was posted in our Facebook group. So stay tuned. This is Daniel, and you are watching Coin Help You. And even though most 1943 Lincoln steel cents are not worth a bunch of money, there are some that you need to be looking for, and we're going to look at those. And I'm going to share with you something that somebody discovered, and they sent it off to PCGS and they got a little surprise. So please like, share, comment, and let's get started. Here's a 1943 Lincoln Cent that was shared in our group. And a guy posted an image of it. He said it didn't weigh right, didn't sound right, and didn't stick to a magnet. He sent it off to PCGS. And it looked a little bit rough, but they gave it an AU53, and it's actually struck on a silver planchet. So he found a 1943, I think he was looking through a collection, and realized that it was different. These coins like this sell for $2,000 to $4,000. Now, a little bit of a background. The 1943 cents are struck on steel planchets. That's what they're supposed to be struck on. Most of them are not going to be worth a lot of money. Here's an example. Here's three of them. All three, P, D, and S. So you had Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark. San Francisco Mint with an S mint mark, and the Denver Mint with a D mint mark. And the mint mark is right under the date, as you can see here. So the D right here. And the S will also be there. Now, when you're looking at these, and as you see, I have this auction pulled up. This is Heritage. All three of these sold for $84. Okay? Meaning there's not a lot of value to these in Mint State 66. It doesn't mean there's not some that aren't valuable, and we're going to look at some of those. First, I'm going to show you a 1943 Philadelphia Mint that graded Mint State 68 by PCGS. It sold for $1,560 with the buyer's premium. These coins, sometimes they look like they're perfect. This coin graded 68. Obviously 70 is the highest grade that you can attain. And it sold for $1,560. If this was an S or a D, it would have sold for a little bit more. But it's very difficult to get this grade, but you can look through uncirculated rolls, maybe even try a bulk submission to NGC and maybe get the grade. Here's a 1943. This our 5-piece set of cents on experimental planchets. Back in 43 and 42, in this era, they were actually striking coins, trying out different types of metals and alloys and things for coins. This is an example of a set that sold that was on experimental planchets, and it kind of gives you an idea here if we can get in closer. And we're looking at, all these tests. You've got the zinc plated, you've got the coated steel, you've got, copper plated, just different things that they were trying. And obviously a set like this is 12 grand is what it sold for recently. But if you just found one of these or just something experimental that was kind of oddball in your 1943s. A lot of people hoarded 1943s, so to find bags of them is not unheard of. Finding uncirculated rolls is a little more difficult. And not only that, I did do a video on repurposed 1943 cents where they replated them. Those actually are damaged coins, and it does hurt the value. Here's another 1943 Lincoln Cent. It has an obverse indent. Okay, this is a mint error. This coin here, whenever a planchet got into the coining chamber, maybe this coin wasn't ejected and it got struck through that way. And it sold for $180. Here's a 1943. This was struck on a Netherlands 25-cent planchet. The U.S. Mint has struck coins for other countries, and one of their planchets from the Netherlands got stuck in one of the bins and actually got put in with a 1943 Lincoln Cent. This sold $24,000. Here's a 1943 cent struck on a dime planchet, AU55. We just talked about this. Struck on a silver planchet. This is actually a mercury dime planchet that accidentally got into the coining chamber with the 1943 Lincoln Cent dies and was struck. $3,360 if you find one of these. Here's another, a double curve clips. Now see, these are mint errors. Okay, and when you find things like this, You know, they do have a little bit of a value to them. It's also going to be dependent on the grade. This one graded mint state 63. And you have to watch. People cut coins. People will take coins and put them in the grinders, and they'll try different things to make errors. So you want to make sure it's better off having them certified. This one sold for $305. It would be worth sending off to have graded at that point. You might have $60 or $70 in it, but you're still going to make some money if you don't have a whole lot in the coin in the first place. Then you have a 1943 double struck in collar. This is going to confuse a lot of people because you're looking for a coin that is double struck. Okay, you're going to have damage on the coin, but you're seeing the double struck area right here. So what basically it didn't eject from the coining chamber and actually fell back in and rotated around and was struck again. So therefore you see that area there on the coin, the date's right down here. That can happen, but it actually needs to look raised, and it has to look similar to and the same shape and font as the regular date on it. So this one here was sent off, and it actually sold for $470. It graded extra fine 40. If you find an uncirculated example, it'll be worth more. Here's a 1943 again, struck on a silver dime planchet. This one's AU50. It looks a little bit better, and it's in a PCGS secure. That's why it sells for more. $5,287. This one here is struck on a bronze planchet. This is the one that everybody's looking for. It went for $305,500 with a buyer's premium. You know, this is a sight to behold, a coin like this. There's so many fakes out there. They can be plated in copper. They can be actually struck counterfeits where someone takes a copper planchet and strikes it with fake made up dies with 1943. And you can find that kind of stuff on AliExpress, online, and other places. You just really have to watch out. Here's one that's struck on a verse struck through a die cap. As you can see this, and it creates kind of a brockage look to it. And that's something that definitely needs to be sent off. And that's a mint error, and it's $2,467. What you want to watch out for is someone taking another steel cent and put it on top of another one and hitting it with a sledgehammer or putting it in a vise. At that point, you're going to see an indent, but it's actually not going to be mirrored like this. And you really need to have it sent off and graded. That way, it's certified as the mint error that it is, instead of trying to sell it raw and try to put it up. I understand people don't want to send coins off to have graded, but this kind of coin needs to be sent off so that it's verified at what it is. This one here is actually 40% off center. You don't see these all that often. It's another mint error, and at 40% off, and it graded at mint state 62, it actually sold for $1,410. So, you know, varying degrees of off center is going to be worth more than others. Having the date on a coin is very important for the values for these, and being struck more off center would be worth more, less off center. You know, when you get around 10% or less, a lot of times the premium's just not there. So then we want to also look at varieties. Now we just looked at errors, and errors and varieties are different. So we're looking at varieties here for the 1943. So the 1943 has actually two double dies, and you know, one double die is worth about a little bit more than the other, which is the FS101. The FS801 is not worth as much. So anyways, we can take a look at, you know, the double die. Let's look at the FS101 here. And when you're looking at double dies, you're actually going to look for a little bit more of a thickness in the letters and the date. And whenever you see a replated version of the 1943 cent, it will look like there's doubled areas all over the coin, and it's not. Okay, the plating kind of pulls up around it, and it's not actually a double die. So you want to identify these. You want to get in and compare it to an actual image of a double die, and you've got one right here. You can blow it up, and you can actually compare it to it, and you'll see the difference. You won't see a bunch of run lines and different things around the date and other areas of the coin that you would see with a coin that's replated. Then you have the 1943S. It has a double die as well. Like I said, if we go back here and we can look at the values on Coinfax, this is PCGS Coinfax, you can see what they're worth. There's a double die for the 43S. And once you get in and you look at this one here, you can kind of get an idea where the double's at. You always want to look for larger design features that are thicker, some little split in the serifs, and it's all going to depend on which class of double die you're looking at here. And that goes for all coins, you know, the general idea. Then you also have a 43 D over D, which is an RPM. This one here is pretty popular, and it's actually pretty obvious once you find it. What you want to be careful for, though, is, like I said, the replating can make it look like it is a repunch mint mark when it's not. and here's another example. Whenever you're looking at values for these, this one sold for $19, this one sold for $14,950. And the reason is because it was graded mint state 67. That makes a big difference in value. This one sold for $19. Now it's probably worth a little bit more than that now. This was sold a little bit in the past. But the point of it is that the higher the grade, the more it's going to be worth. And grade does have a big factor in how much a coin is actually going to sell for. So hope that opened your eyes a little bit to the 1943 Lincoln Cents. Don't forget to look at my replated 1943 video to kind of get an idea what that looks like. Please like, share, and comment on my video, and click that little bell beside the subscribe button, and have a great day.